In the gallant days when history hung on the flight of an arrow or the slash of a sword, when feudal barons ravaged the countryside to live in pomp and splendor.
It is truly colorful, exciting, fascinating entertainment every minute of the way.
Moonsea Adventures.
Hello and welcome back for Season 2 of the Moonsea Adventures. I am here with the cast, and quite a few things have happened since the end of Season 1. To summarize, you guys have basically been surviving under the protection of the Night Lady and the gang, the Skinned Rats, as you have allied yourselves with them, and you have been in Melvaunt. And during the past few months, you guys have been holed up in the Crooked Crow Inn. That's kind of been the base of operations. You have secured the town, but very slowly, very carefully, so as not to attract a horde of the infected. Over this time, Melvaunt has basically become a ghost town. You did manage over the few months to go out kind of into town on these occasional raids and rescue missions, occasionally finding very few survivors, but bringing them into the fold. And a few supply runs, but very limited outside of the city, specifically to the river just to the north and west of Melvaunt, in order to get supplies and in order to get fresh water, the Tormal River. But other than that, none of your crew has ventured outside of that very small area. Additionally, in those few months, you have not encountered any other travelers. You have not encountered any other refugees or survivors outside of the ones who were holed up in Melvaunt that you rescued. And in the past month, you have focused on continuing the operation of brewing these potions to heal the sickness that you guys were kind of instrumental in discovering and working on. And essentially, you guys, along with the Skinned Rats, have kind of been able to re-secure Melvaunt. You sort of rebuilt the entrance gate and some of the other walled areas that were destroyed. You have occupied a few of the other buildings and secured them in order to expand living quarters for the refugees and survivors that you were able to help out. The docks, however, are completely gone. In the raging fires and inferno that was kind of the climactic moment of your arrival back at Melvaunt after you've gone to Thentia, the docks and all the ships that were left are gone. So there's still a harbor, but there's nowhere for ships to dock. So with all of that, you guys have been approached by Rakul, who you know is kind of the lieutenant, the right-hand man, as it were, of the Night Lady. And in the past few months, you really haven't seen the Night Lady very much. You know that she's kind of still there, but most of her orders and directives have come through Rakul and then to the other captains of the Skinned Rats and to you guys. But Rakul approaches you. And this is, just another kind of normal day in this post-apocalyptic situation. And he tells you that the Night Lady has asked him to approach you about seeking out the Mad Druid. You guys may remember that there were rumors about this person, the Mad Druid, who some people suspected of being the cause of this entire thing. Though there weren't exact links to this Mad Druid, many people felt that he had the power, as it were, to be able to cause such a massive, catastrophic event. Rakul explains to you guys that the Night Lady has been deep into many rituals of divination to sort of find out more about if this Mad Druid is in the area, if the Mad Druid is responsible for stuff. And she has arrived at the conclusion that he is somewhere in the Moonwatch Hills, which is about, if you go by road, it's about 10 to 15 miles. And then the Moonwatch Hills themselves extend for about 15 miles between Melvant and Flan. And you guys know Flan because that's where you all kind of originally met up and started working together. Rakul tells you that she is preparing a missive that she would like you to deliver to the Mad Druid if you can find him. That by her divinations, it is not certain that he is responsible for what has happened, for this plague, but that he may know how to end it. And as such, the Night Lady is requesting that you guys find the Mad Druid and that you deliver this missive. Rakul tells you that, as you know, he can't really spare any of their remaining pack mules or horses, mainly because they only have about 4 of them that weren't infected. So this would have to be something that you guys would tackle on foot. The other thing that Rakul tells you is that it is absolutely crucial, no matter what, that when you return, that you aren't leading a horde of the infected back to Melvant. Because despite rebuilding and refortifying, there simply isn't enough defenses to prevent a massive horde of infected animals or creatures from breaching the defenses of this town. You guys are reminded then of the secret smuggling tunnel that the skinned rats use to bypass the wall of the town. And that is how you'll go out into the world, and that's how you must come back in. But to be sure that you don't lead a group of the infected back to Melvant.
Mm-hmm.
So, Rakul tells you to prepare yourselves for this. There is basically an entire cache of dried food and fresh water that you could use. Any equipment or weapons or armor that you don't have, you are welcome to take from the stores that they have gathered after essentially looting the town. And in addition, he tells you that each one of you will take one of the potions to cure the infection. If you do run into the infected and you do get bit, each one of you will have one of those potions to cure the infection. And the Night Lady is providing you each with 1 potion of healing. So make a note of that. He tells you to get your stuff ready, that you'll be leaving in an hour, and he will return with the missive from the Night Lady before you leave. So is there anything that you guys want to do specifically before he comes back? Let's start with Niels. Anything that you want to do?
No, not off the top of my head, no.
Okay, so Syllar, all equipped, all good?
Yep. Just stocked up on his arrows and ready to go.
Yeah, ammunition included. You can take as much as you can carry. And that brings us to Angler.
I'm just eating, getting ready, filling up.
Okay. How about Harley?
Well, Harley's prepared as always, but he's trying to commune with the Raven Queen to give him strength.
Okay, that piques my curiosity. Describe how you have been trying to commune with the Raven Queen.
Well, Harley's trying to find any dark place or dimly lit place and just sit on the ground without any equipment, only in his clothes, very humbly, and just pray, just trying to reach his goddess.
Okay, I'm going to have you make a percentile roll. And for those who are new to my games, I have a mechanic that I use. And mostly I use this when I'm running games in my original world, but I like the idea that you're directly trying to communicate with your patron. So you're going to roll percentile dice and tell me what that number is.
Well, 39.
39 is enough. Okay. In one of these meditations, you feel the presence of your patron. Although there's nothing visible, you hear telepathically in your mind a song. And the song is kind of bittersweet. It's a song that describes stories, and it's almost like you're flipping through a book and you're not really getting the whole story. You're getting fragments. You're getting images of these stories, and they're happy, sweet stories. Stories of love, stories of adventure, stories of great deeds, stories of heroism, and even stories of like the meek. But there also is kind of a sad, you're like flooded with a sort of melancholy as well, because it's as if you're getting a bunch of memories, and these memories are things that, though they are happy, there's a sadness to it, that almost as if the Raven Queen misses these memories and misses these stories, as if she can't access them anymore.
Don't worry, my queen. My story will be yours to tell. I'm here for you.
You hear a voice in your mind. What is it that you seek most, servant?
I seek vengeance. And right now, I seek the safe passage for me and my companions to achieve our goal, to move us forward, and to make you proud of me.
For what do you seek vengeance?
You gave me my powers to avenge my family, my people. And I will provide. And now, I'm just humbly asking for your guidance on my path.
Who or what destroyed your family and your people?
Knights from this realm. Knights in the shining armor. I don't know how many. I don't know who exactly. But I will know when I find them. And I will bring them down for your glory.
She says, did you see their insignias? Did you know who they served?
I don't know whom they served, but I saw them clearly as day, but from afar. I saw how they pillaged and plundered my village. And all I know is I have to find them.
As you are thinking about this in this deep meditation, communing with your patron, the Raven Queen, an image sent from her appears in your mind. The image shows a dragon, though the dragon is not what you would normally perceive as the dragon. The dragon is almost like a snake with wings, and it looks like it's flying, but it's flying down, like straight down, and just out of the reach of its mouth is an orb. The sky above it is flames. And you see this image in your mind. And she says, they are who is responsible for the deaths of your family and the destruction of your people. That is the target of your vengeance, servant. And then you feel like the presence of the Raven Queen dissipate, and you kind of come to consciousness. But when you close your eyes, very briefly, you just kind of see the outline, almost as if when a person stares at a really bright object and then they close their eyes, you could picture the inverse of that object in your mind. That's kind of burned into your mind's eye. This image of this winged serpent coming straight down, chasing this orb with flames behind it.
I just immediately scribble it down into the dust, and then I'll return with the paper and the quill and just recreate the image as good as I can.
Okay.
Just to know.
Do you... You know what? I'll tell you what. You have Arcana trained, right?
Yep.
Go ahead and make an Arcana check.
Okay. Seven.
This vision that she shared with you doesn't seem familiar to you. But then again, considering your species, you aren't necessarily familiar with everything from this region, shall we say. Though that isn't to say that someone else might not recognize it, but you choose to do or share what you will. Okay, Ushun, what, if anything, do you need to do to prepare for this trip?
I am getting a full set of studded leather armor fit to me.
Okay.
That increases my armor class to 12 because I'm
Okay.
a barbarian.
I'm gonna pause right there for 1 second. So one of the things that you can do is I'm gonna say that anything like that, because it would have taken time, reasonably speaking, to fit you with that. So yeah. I'm gonna say that you maybe would have done that in the last couple months while you guys
exactly
were pulled up. So
exactly
you have that studded leather.
Okay, and I'd like to see if there's a kid ready to go as a hireling.
So let me go over that because we didn't get too specific, but there was, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was an orphanage in Melvant that was run by a cleric named Sister Jane. And you guys were actually able to kind of help them. They had been holed up, and you were actually able to help them and bring them back into the fold. So of that group of children who survived, there were 7 kids, boys and girls.
I want to pick one who's good with the bow.
Okay. So I'll say that, some of them, I mean, they're all kids that are, anywhere from like 12 to 14 years old, but they, some of them kind of in this entire catastrophic event had picked up some skills. And one of them that you kind of liked he's a small kid, and he's fast. This is the kind of kid who probably, if he wasn't in the orphanage, he probably would have ended up being in one of the gangs in Melvant, because he just has a knack for kind of moving and stealthily and scouting things out. He's kind of he's fast. He's small, but he's fast and kind of perceptive. And his name is Estev.
See if he wants to come with us.
He's like, yeah, I'll come with. That'd be great. He's like, but I don't know if Sister Jane will be okay with it.
Oh, well, I'll talk with Sister Jane.
Okay. Sister Jane knows you, and you know her. I mean, you guys have been living together for a few months. But she doesn't know about what your mission is. And you don't know if you're supposed to be telling people about this, because Rakul only approached you guys privately. So how do you want to handle this negotiation with Sister Jane?
I believe, Sister Jane, that Estef is ready to continue his training, and I would like to take him out on a scavenging hunt outside the city.
Sister Jane kind of looks at you and she says, well, isn't that dangerous? Haven't we been sequestered here for our own safety? Why are you suddenly leaving?
We've been asked
going to get water?
Among other things, yes.
Go ahead and make a persuasion roll. You haven't quite delved into deception yet. You've just omitted some truth.
Oh, I'm being very careful, Yeah, I'm really good at this, I tell you. Oh, well, I totally failed with a natural 1.
Okay. She says, with all due respect, Ushun, I don't think it's safe for the children to leave the confines of the city. She's like, I appreciate your willingness to teach Estev some of your valuable survival skills, certainly, but I don't think it's safe.
Okay, so next outing, yes?
Perhaps.
Good. I have, I know that money isn't much here. You know what? We don't need money. I can't give you anything. Okay, I will find something for you while we are out and about, and I will make sure that I take it as loot and give it to you. Thank you so much.
Oh, any donations to rebuild the orphanage once this is all over would be very appreciated.
Yeah. Good. I can do that. All right, Estev, next time.
You see Estev is a little disappointed, but overall, he's like, yeah, okay. He kind of figured that Sister Jane wasn't going to let them go anywhere.
Keep studying your marksmanship.
He's like, I will. I've been practicing my short bow. Since a longbow is actually taller than he is, he's just been using a short bow.
Yeah.
All right. So about an hour later, after Rakul's talked to you, you guys kind of gear up, prepare all of your stuff. Rakul returns with a scroll case, a leather scroll case, and the cap of the scroll case is sealed in wax. He says the missive is inside of this scroll case to prevent it from being damaged should you be attacked, or if you for some reason are in water. This will prevent the scroll from getting wet and the ink from running. So he says the Night Lady has requested that when you find the Mad Druid that you bring this to him. Then he kind of leans in closer to you guys and he says, the Mad Druid may want to know the name of the Night Lady. The Night Lady does not share her true name very easily. So I will tell her true name to one of you, and you will keep it to yourself and only share it if the Mad Druid asks for her true name. Who amongst you is willing to take this information? Consider this carefully, because anyone who betrays the Night Lady's true name will become a target. Make no mistake.
I would vote for Harley.
I'll carry the scroll.
Well, I'm willing to take the name of the Night Lady. I won't betray her trust.
He leans forward and in the quietest of whispers, like directly into Harley's ear, he whispers the true name of the Night Lady, which I have sent to Harley directly in the chat. Rakul looks at you after telling you this name, and he says, remember, that is a secret, a trusted secret. Do not betray the trust of the Night Lady if you know what's good for you.
I won't.
He
Her
says,
secret is safe with me.
He says, who amongst you will carry the scroll case? He nods and he hands the scroll case over to Ushun. And he says, all right, you are ready?
Mm-hmm.
We are.
To the tunnel. You guys go downstairs into the cellar, which only a few months ago was a mere wine cellar for the inn, and now it is packed like a hoarder house, like floor to ceiling, where there's so much stuff that they've looted, supplies, weapons, armor, everything, that you have to kind of like wind your way through this labyrinth to get to the door that goes to the tunnel. He opens the door, leads you guys through the tunnel. He's carrying a torch, not for his own benefit, but for those of you who don't have dark vision. And then goes to the stairs. He hands the torch to Ushun, and then you see he kind of goes up the stairs. And the way in which he moves up the stairs is almost like a crawling method, making very little sound. And when he gets to the top and he's by the trap door, you could tell that he's just standing, like he's up there for like 5 minutes listening. And then after about 5 minutes, he pushes open the trap door and kind of looks around. And then he opens it a little more, looks around. And then he looks over his shoulder and he points to Syllar and he beckons you to come up. When you get up close to Rakul, he says, I will hold the trapdoor open. You go out and scout the immediate area to make sure that there are no infected. And when you are certain, come back and let us know, and the others will come through. So he pushes the trapdoor up, and you see some sand and gravel kind of fall off the trapdoor.
Mm-hmm.
And he sort of winces at the sound, but then he beckons you to go. So you kind of belly crawl through, and you find yourself about 100 yards north of the walls. And this is the first time you've been out in a long time, because Rakul has traditionally sent some of the skinned rats out at nighttime to go on water runs, but this is the first time you've been out in a long time. When you go out, it's very quiet. Like there's no birds chirping. It's daytime. There's no birds chirping. There's no, I mean, in the distance you can hear kind of the wind coming off of the Moonsea, but that's about all you hear.
Yeah.
It's eerily quiet.
Right. I'm gonna stay low and break out my spyglass and do not a 360, 180 with the horizon scanning.
Okay.
First, of course, the plain view if anything's close, and then the spyglass.
So you just take a minute or two and you kind of begin looking around with your spyglass, sort of surveying the entire area. And after a couple minutes, you see there's nothing in sight.
Yeah. Any places obscuring the vision?
No, I mean, way off in the distance, like a half mile, there's like a burned down farmhouse, but that's about it.
Yeah. All right. No, back on the trap door.
Okay. He opens it up and he says, "Is it clear?"
Yep. I can't see anything with my spyglass, so it's clear for now.
All right. He holds the trap door and motions for you guys to go. He's like, "Quickly, quietly. And remember, when you return, make sure that there are no infected following you." He holds the trap door open. You guys, one after another, kind of go up, and you're standing out there with Syllar. And once you're all out, he lowers the trap door quietly. And as he's lowering it, he says, "Cover the trap door." And he kind of looks at Ushun and closes it. You just throw some like mulch and stones and gravel and dirt kind of over the trap door. You sort of dress it. And then you guys are up there. You're on the surface.
I want to find a stick that I remember, that I can remember to put it on top, so I mark it just in case.
Okay. You do. Yeah, there's some sticks, there's some scrub brush, that kind of stuff. So
I want to make sure I can find it again.
You guys find yourself north of the wall. To the west, to the east, is Thentia. To the west is Flan, and more specifically, to the west is your target. And you know that roughly about 10 to 15 miles away is where the start of the hills is going to be, is where you're going to find the hills. But the Moonwatch Hills themselves kind of extend for 10 miles. And that road between Melvaunt and Flan kind of goes through the Moonwatch Hills. There's a portion of the Moonwatch Hills that heads a little bit north off the road, closer to the Thar, the sort of wild barbaric region to the north of all this. So you know that you have at least 10 miles to travel until you get to the Moonwatch Hills. And let's say that by the time you guys got everything ready and he had the missive ready, it's about noon.
So we take the road or go through country?
Well, you've got about, like I said, 10 miles before you even get to the eastern edge of the Moonwatch Hills. So you could take the road, or if you want to just head north a little bit and then west, you can kind of stay off-road. What's your approach going to be?
That's what I was asking.
Well, I trust Syllar, so I'm about to follow his lead, and I'm paying very, very good attention to the sea because I remember that giant crab.
Yeah, you're north of the coast, so you're not really within sight of the coast.
Yeah, well, I'd say take the road for now. It's fairly open terrain, so we can still see plenty of what's coming.
Okay.
And I'll break up my spyglass every once in a while and survey some extra to see anything else.
So I'm going to have you actually make a survival check for me.
All right. Would this be grassland, forested?
It's kind of coastal grassland. It's definitely not forested.
All right. Because I have my grassland proficiency, so
yeah.
Favorite terrain.
So go ahead and make that survival check. I'll take into account your proficiency.
Let's see, it's 8 and 7 for 15.
Okay. So you have no problem kind of navigating, finding the direction that you guys need to go in, and even you're pretty confident that even if you wanted to go a little bit off road, you could. But as you guys begin walking west towards this area, Syllar, you notice that there are no tracks on this road. Like, this is a road that used to be very well traveled. where you would see hoof prints, wagon wheel tracks, footprints, that kind of thing. It's almost as if this has all been erased.
Yeah.
Additionally, there are like there's grass and like big weeds and stuff and brush kind of growing up like in the road and alongside the road. It's almost become sort of overgrown. And that's, you're familiar, like I said, because of your ranger features and abilities. You think that this is simply because it's been so desolate that kind of nature has sort of reclaimed this area.
Yeah, and it's also a good sign because it means nobody's around.
Yeah, as far as you could tell, you don't see any signs that people have been this way.
Yeah.
People or creatures. So you guys continue, you're traveling, and about 2 hours go by, and you start to see the elevations change ahead of you to the west. You start to see the area kind of become more hilly, rolling hills. But still that kind of coastal grassland look. And you guys are starting to approach the Moonwatch Hills, the eastern end of the Moonwatch Hills. I'm assuming you're still taking point, Syllar?
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you get to the top, close to the top of the hill, and just motion anyone to stay down, take out the spyglass again, see if we can get some extra vantage point from the hill.
Okay, so you guys kind of walk up the hill. Yeah, go ahead, Ushun.
I'm going to start sniffing the air.
Okay, you make me a perception check. Syllar, make me a survival check.
Six, 16 on survival.
Okay.
6.
So Syllar, so Ushun, you don't really smell anything different. Like it's kind of just the air doesn't seem to indicate any specific sort of smell outside of kind of what the environment is. There's, like I said, there's a little bit of a breeze coming off of the Moonsea, but you're also, a few miles north of the coast. Syllar, you get to the top of the first hill, and it looks like, there's this hill kind of goes a ways, and then it sort of crests down and then back up to another set of hills. And you're kind of at the top, you're using your spyglass and you're looking, and you notice that there's actually tracks. However, it looks almost like something dragged through the area. It's not like wheel tracks, like a wagon or a carriage. And there also aren't like hoof prints as if it was like a horse pulling something, but there's sort of like a dragging, a series of kind of dragging things that seem to go from the south across the road and to the north into this little valley and then around a hill. It looks like something was moved or something moved across here relatively recently, like by your estimate, maybe within the last few days, because the tracks are deep enough to still be there despite, wind and rain.
No blood marks, no bloody streaks.
No. It's a peculiar thing that you really haven't seen. The best way to describe it is just like something was being dragged. Multiple things were being dragged, and there's sort of divots, holes occasionally, but then more of that dragging.
Yeah, but no footprints, no nothing.
No footprints, no boot prints, no horses or animal prints, and no clean wheel tracks.
Yeah.
But you could definitely track it if you want to. It looks like it went across the road, down this valley, and then as far as your spyglass can see, it looks like it went around the next set of hills in front of you, kind of to the north and in front of you.
Yeah. I pointed the tracks to the group, and I'm not sure what this is, but do you guys figure it might be that the druid that we're looking for may have been like hunting or something and dragging stuff back to his lair?
Well,
Figure-
I'll kneel down. I'll kneel down and take a look at it. Rolling a survival check. 17. What can I discern from this track?
You're going to actually go down to the tracks.
Well, he's shown me the tracks, right?
Yeah, but they're like 100 feet away. Like he was.
Oh.
So do you actually go down to the tracks?
Oh, I'll wait until we get there and then I'll look down.
All right. So you guys walk up, and right as he indicated, across the road are these tracks, and they extend. Looks like they came from the south through the hills and over this path, and then continue north and kind of around to the northwest. As you get closer, you notice that occasionally, alongside these tracks, you see looks like mulch. Like there's some bark and some kind of like occasionally like small branches and twigs.
Well, pick it up and run it through my fingers, sniff it.
Do you have nature?
I might. Let me see. Yes, I do.
Go ahead and make a nature check.
Glasses, darn it. Okay, so that's a 9.
Well, it's some kind of tree debris, but you're not sure what kind of tree. Anybody else with proficiency in nature?
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if this being some.
You have forests. Go ahead and make a check. Make a nature check.
Let's see. Nature is also intelligence, and that's double. 10.
Again,
with a plus.
I'll say this because you sort of achieved a bit of success in the sense that you know it's obviously debris from a tree, but it doesn't look like a tree that's native to this area. Like maybe it's further north from the Thar.
Okay.
You're looking at some of the leaves and you're like, yeah, this doesn't really grow here. This looks like the kind of trees in the swamps to the north. Like there's some of the little branches that look like they were torn off and left have these leaves look more like swamp trees.
I want to take another look at the tracks and figure if they are going south or are going north. Just double check.
Hey, can a druid turn himself into a plant?
You want to make an Arcana check?
No, I'm just asking.
Well, you don't.
I don't have Arcana.
Really. Yeah, you ask out loud.
Like kind of stuck.
Yeah, I ask out loud. Anyone?
Wouldn't a tree or a plant just be kind of stuck in the ground rather than being able to move?
Well, I don't know, but back in my realm, there were stories about the twisted trees that can move by themselves. So, why?
What? Yeah, well, I'm thinking anything's possible now.
Well, I don't know.
You figure the druid wild shapes into a tree to evade the infected?
Well, maybe.
I'm going to start looking around.
All right. Well, like I said, you could follow the tracks. You could definitely see where they're going.
Yeah, they were going north. Like I said, I was double checking because it looked kind of odd going with northern style trees going south to north.
Correct.
I double checked and they're going north.
Alrighty then.
It is in kind of the direction that we're expecting the druid to be, so perhaps we should carefully follow the tracks, maybe from a slight distance to the side of it.
You could.
You know, it'd kind of be nice to know where these tracks came from. and then track them where they're going. I don't know. It's just an idea.
Yeah, it's probably, well, I'd say just go where it's leading us. Wherever it came from, it probably hasn't left anything, I think.
I propose you give me a minute to run back the way they came and a minute to come back. I can move, I have a movement speed of 40 now, so that's 80 per round.
Okay.
So 2 minutes, 1 minute out, 1 minute back.
Are you in this scouting mission? Are you trying to be stealthy, or are you just kind of trying to be quick?
Quick.
Okay.
I'm just kind of jogging along.
Make me a survival check.
$19.
Okay. You're sort of following these strange tracks. You go kind of down this little valley, and then you kind of circle around these hills. You're following them, and I'm going to say you go at least a half mile, and it looks like these tracks continue to kind of wind through the low parts in these hills. It looks like they kind of avoid going up the hills. They're kind of staying in the low valleys between the hills, but they're sort of winding steadily north and west.
She was heading south.
Oh, you were heading south?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going the way they came from.
Well, you just ran north, you went a half mile, and you're like, yep, they keep going. And then you run south, and you do the same thing, and you follow, and they go all the way, you go for a mile, let's say. They go to like the lower end of these foothills, and you're within a mile of the coast, and it looks like they stop at an area just at the end of the Moonwatch Hills. And when you get to that area, you see distinct, like 3 gaping holes. I mean, like pits that are like 20 feet deep. And that's where these tracks terminate to the south.
Take 6 seconds to look in one of them.
Okay.
Just lean over.
Make a perception check.
That's a 10.
All right. So what's odd to you is that you don't see any tracks around these 3 holes. It looks like whatever was in these 3 holes came out of the 3 holes and then began their movement. And that's the tracks that you were following. The other thing is that the holes themselves do not look clean cut. In other words, they don't look like somebody dug something out with shovels. Literally, like there's roots sticking out, and there's like little tiny roots sticking out. There's multiple in each of these pits. There's multiple kind of deep holes going into the earth.
I'll head back.
Okay. So meanwhile, because that I'm going to say that took like a half an hour. What are the rest of you guys doing during that time?
An angler, that's how you load the pipe and how you smoke it, you know?
In his
Very
voice, I'll say, good to know.
Very carefully. I'm just sitting, I'm learning angler how to smoke.
Okay. What's Syllar doing?
Keeping watch, trying to keep these boys quiet.
Okay. It's, again, eerily quiet. Like, no birds, no creatures, squirrels, whatever. You don't see any life signs in this area.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, about a half an hour later, Ushun returns.
Okay, went down close to the coast. The track started close to the coast. I found 3 deep pits, and looks like something was either pulled out or something. I didn't see any tracks around these pits. So something big might, I don't know. It just looks like something crawled out or was yanked out of these pits, and then they dragged up here.
Oh, as I told you, those trees are real. They are walking.
Yeah, well,
we should stick to the high ground, you know?
Yeah, they kind of kept to the flat surfaces.
Yeah, and when we keep our tracks along the ridges of the hills, we have vision, we have high ground to defend, and we can scout whatever is out there.
All right.
Yeah, okay.
I'll take up the rear.
Okay, so Syllar, do you continue on the road then, kind of going up and down hills?
Yeah, just kind of following the tracks alongside, like Harley is suggested, taking the high ground most of the way.
Okay, you travel another 5 miles into the Moonwatch, and you crest a hill along the path. And when you get to the top of this hill, you come across a very large pit. And you see tracks from this pit. And it looks like this pit is at like the top of a hill. You see tracks kind of similar to the ones that you saw before, moving down the hill and to the north into a valley. When you get your spyglass out, you look, and it looks like these tracks meet up with the other tracks that were winding through the low areas and then kind of continue along.
All right. Ushun,
it looks like they are heading north and west off the road.
Yeah. Ushun, does this pit look like the other 3 you found earlier?
It does. Yeah, you approach it, and it looks almost the same, like not clean cut, just almost as if the soil was ripped out, and there's little tiny root fragments and holes in the ground in the pit.
All right. Oh,
I'm gonna reach in and.
Yeah, Harley, do you think these trees that could have been here got somehow turned alive and just use their roots to just get out of the ground and walk away?
Well, it's possible. And maybe just the Mad Druid is clearing those hills so he can see everything that moves in them. Maybe the trees are just migrating up to the Thar, so there's many possibilities.
What could cause these trees to become sentient or alive, or?
Well, maybe the Blake, maybe the Druid. We don't know. Or maybe some minor deity.
Would be a cool way to collect firewood. Just summon a tree.
Well, there is plenty of bushes and grass, so we can burn that, I think.
No, for the druid to get some firewood.
Oh.
Just summon a tree and have it walk over.
Yeah, he may do that.
Yeah. So continue.
Not this
forward.
many. I'm gonna reach down and kind of pull up a fragment of root and look at it.
Maybe he needs a lot of firewood.
It's damp, as if it was recently. It's not dried out, like it's damp, as if it was recently disconnected from its host.
I'll squeeze the end of it, see what comes out.
Just a little bit of moisture.
I do that.
Tastes like groundwater, kind of.
Mm.
All right. So continue following.
Yeah.
Okay, so staying on the road.
Yeah, staying to the high grounds and just keeping a lookout.
Okay, you guys travel another couple miles, and you kind of come to a valley. And it looks like this goes for about 5 miles, and then in the distance to the west, it sorts of ascends to another area of the hills. But it's pretty much open ground.
It's an empty valley.
Yeah, it looks like you get your spyglass out, you kind of scan, and off in the distance, maybe about a half mile up the road to the west, you see something. It looks like maybe wagons and a camp. But you don't really see any people.
I want to take a minute or so, half a minute, and just focus on that area and see if I can see any movement.
Syllar, what your elf's eyes see?
Well, between my eyes and my spyglasses, I see what may be an abandoned carts or whatever happened to folks traveling and maybe have gotten diseased, but I'm trying to see if there's still any kind of movement.
Well,
No movement.
Well, we should take a look.
Yeah.
And I send the murmur there.
Ah, murmur.
Well,
Okay.
I'm checking the wind first. What direction is the wind?
The wind is kind of coming off. It's that same breeze coming off the coast.
So it's coming from the south.
Still, right. You're like 5 miles north of the coast now.
Yeah.
Harley, you send Murmur to go check this out. And a few moments later, Murmur communicates with you telepathically. You see through Murmur that there are 2 wagons. One of them's like a flatbed wagon, like the kind that farmers bring their crops in. They're like a cluster of 3 tents. And then there's another wagon that's like a wooden wagon, like a Varda, basically, that has doors at the back, and the doors are closed. No horses, no people, no bodies. It looks like an abandoned camp.
Well, it looks safe. There is nobody.
There are even a few like crates and chests kind of scattered around the camp, but none of it looks like it's disturbed. It doesn't look like somebody like looted it, but it just looks abandoned.
Does it look old?
It's pretty dusty looking, as if it's been there for a while. Make a perception check for Murmur for me.
Okay. Ooh. Perception. Okay, that's bad. 6.
Well, Murmur doesn't really see any other details, but do you guys go down there? Do you continue along the road to this camp, or what do you want to do?
You described this wagon with doors on it, like a box on wheels?
Yes.
Okay, only really wealthy people have those. In my experience.
Well, in Shadowfell, every Vistani clan has multiple of those. So...
Let's circle around to the north of the camp and come back. So so they're downwind of us.
Okay. Well, Angler, maybe there are some spoils for you.
Yeah. Could Murmur make some noises in the camp? See if somebody pops out?
Well, sure.
Murmur could do this, but Murmur would then not be invisible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
So
is up to you.
Just asking.
So I'll command Murmur go up the wagon and rattle something on the top of that.
Okay. When you command Murmur to do this, and Murmur does it, through Murmur's senses, you hear movement, like multiple things moving in the wagon.
Okay,
and the door to the wagon kind of rattles a little bit, and Murmur notices that it's not locked.
Fuck. Murmur, return immediately.
Okay. Activating invisibility, Murmur returns to you.
There's someone in the wagon.
Kind of figures. Although, why would you hide while it's still light rather than be out in the dark? But...
Well, duh, there's creatures around that give you disease. I say we circle around north of the place, come back down.
Okay, we might try that.
I don't think we should sneak. I think we should make noise to let them know we're coming, but
I would think that anyone traveling would be quiet, so it would be better to stay quiet.
Okay, I'll try.
All right, you guys begin kind of carefully and stealthily going off the road to the north a bit, and then you continue west. And I'll say that you're maybe 100 feet north of this camp. You want to approach with stealth? Go ahead and make me stealth rolls.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is the group average. So tell me all your rolls.
14.
Well,
Ooh, 19. Woo.
That's the low ball 8. That was a terrible die.
Okay, so your group average is a 13. You kind of approach this camp, and as you're getting closer, again, you see there's 3 tents. The flaps are just kind of lazily flapping in the wind. There's a flatbed wagon. There's what looks like the remains of a campfire, although it looks like it's maybe weeks or months old. There are 2 crates, big wooden crates, and 2 chests. And then there's the enclosed box wagon. You guys feel like you're being very stealthy because you don't hear any movement.
Yeah. Can I see if the 2 doors, the door on the box van, there's anything that can slide my short sword into to like block the door from opening?
Yes, there are 2 handles. So if you wanted to put a sword into that, you could block it.
All right, I'm doing that. And then
as you approach the wagon, you hear inside kind of a sound, like multiple sounds that are like like insects.
All right.
You carefully slide your sword into between the 2 handles of the doors, and you kind of let go and step away. You still hear the buzzing sound.
Are there windows on the Bardo?
No.
All right.
Let's burn it down.
No. Let's check these crates and chests.
Okay. The crates, even though the wooden lids are on them, they have been opened. So it looks like they were pried open, and then like somebody just set the lids back on top. So you can just lift the lids off the crates if you wanted to.
Yep.
Okay. So Ushun, you go over to the first one, you lift it off, and inside you see a collection of about 10 daggers, 10 short swords, and they're all completely rusted.
Okay.
And you see kind of like mold on the inside of the crate. Looks like they maybe at some point they were really wet, and time and rusting has happened.
Mm-hmm.
The second crate you open up, and you are assaulted by the waft of rotten food. And inside the crate, you see all sorts of vegetables and fruits, and they are completely rotten, and flies kind of pour out, buzzing around and sort of disperse. There are also two chests.
Check to see if they're locked.
Indeed, both of them are locked.
I will try to open one of them.
Okay, go ahead and make a check.
It's
Well, is there like a cadaver smell coming from the cart?
You did not smell the smell of rotten body, no, which you have become intimately familiar with because there's all sorts of rotten bodies that were in Melvaunt when you guys would go out on rescue missions and scrounging missions. So, Angler, you're going to make a lockpicks check, so it's your proficiency bonus plus your dex.
Okay.
Unless you have expertise in thieves' tools, then you double your proficiency bonus.
I believe I do. I'm not sure, though. Either way, I rolled a dirty 20.
Oh, nice. You easily pick the first lock. You kind of pop your tools in there, click, take the lock off. When you open it up, you find that the contents of this chest are actually very intact. And you find 10 sets of high quality noble man clothing. Like this looks like not like the kind of clothing that commoners would wear, or even nobles from smaller towns. Like this looks like legit noble clothing, like something that you would find from other areas of the Moonsea, let's say, like not from like a small town like Flan or Melvaunt, but maybe even something from like Ulash or Molemaster. Like these are they're very vibrant colors. Definitely worth a lot of money, and they seem to be intact.
I will split them with the party.
Okay.
Or point to them.
For those who want them, there's 10 sets of men's noble clothing. You want to check out the other chest?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and make me another Thieves' Tools roll.
All right. That's a natural 20. It's a 24. 20.
Okay. You easily pick that lock. And when you open that up, you find a whole bunch of coins and some jewelry. You find 200 silver coins. And these are also minted from Molemaster. You recognize the coins. I should have had you make a history check, but fuck it. There are 200 silver coins from Molemaster and 40 gold pieces also minted from Molemaster. And then you see a necklace, silver necklace with gems in it that looks like it's pretty valuable.
I will hand that to V.
Go ahead and make an investigation check.
Me?
Yeah.
$21.
Ooh. You're like looking at the gems and the craftsmanship of the necklace, and you're pretty sure that this thing would fetch about 200 gold. It's a very valuable necklace.
All right. I'll split the silver and gold between the party.
Okay, you guys
so
do that?
50 gold or 50 silver and 10 gold each.
Okay. 50 silver and 10 gold each. And are you keeping the necklace?
Yeah.
Okay. And then if you guys wanted sets of clothes, there were 10 sets of nobles' clothes.
Well, I'll try to stack 2 sets to my backpack.
Okay. You kind of roll them up and shove them in.
Yeah. Just not to damage them, but
Okay.
You know, I might use them later.
Is anyone checking out the 3 tents?
Well, I want to take one of the coats or pants or something and hold it up to me. How big is the guy?
You could actually fit in the shirts and the pants.
Whoa, this is a big guy. He's as big as me.
It might be a little snug, but you can make it work.
Yeah.
Hey, you should take it.
Well, I'll take whatever no one else can take because I can still carry a whole lot.
It will
Okay.
be good on you. Trust
Yeah.
me.
I'll wait. I'll take my pole arm and kind of lift up the tent.
Okay. So the tents are covered in, just dust and dirt. You look inside. It looks like there are 3 bedrolls inside of each one of these tents.
How many tents again? 3?
There are 3 tents. The tents are intact, and it looks like there's 3 bedrolls in each tent. There are some odds and ends, like as you scrounge through the tents. There's a few like tinder boxes, a couple flasks of oil. There are some water skins that are dried out. Some commoner clothes.
All right.
And that's
Still
about
not
it.
much happening with the card.
What's that?
Still not much happening with the card other than the buzzing.
Yeah,
Still
you hear the
keeping an eye
buzzing and occasionally you'll hear like soft kind of bumps up against the walls. Like as if something or things are kind of like bumping up against the walls inside of the Varda.
Those are really big bees.
Mm-hmm.
Soft bumping, like tapping almost, not like thumps.
A little bit smaller bees.
Okay. I think it's time to handle the Varda.
What do you want to do?
Oh.
Well, I'll let the quicker people open it up. And I'll ready myself.
I would say just take some of the ropes from the tents and just tie off the door and just leave.
Well, if those are bees, I can deal with them.
Yeah, but we don't want to make anything like fire, smoke, that kind of stuff that would get noticed.
Okay.
Because it's been a while and I doubt any fires would remain other than maybe from lightning strikes, and it's been a while. So if we do anything and suddenly smoke starts pouring up.
Okay, is anyone able to cast some lightning?
No, let's just open the door, deal with what is moving around inside, and then leave. I mean,
why would you want to deal with it?
Let's just clean up.
Would there be a way to rig up some ropes and stuff?
Yeah.
Then we can get away and then yank the door open.
There are short lengths of rope that effectively tie down the tents.
Yeah, we got our own ropes. So what about this? We take some of the tent cloth, rig up all the ropes, get ourselves under a tent far enough, being covered with the canvas, yank the door, and just peek out the little slit that we have open under the canvas and see what happens. So we're not really exposed, we're well hidden.
Well, I guess we can do that.
Because if it's just bees or some kind of rather large flying birds or whatever, they might just sprint out and hit wherever, and they can't see us, they might stay away. So then we have a clear card to check.
Okay, I agree with all that, except I'm not getting into a tent. I'm going to be like, if the Vardo's here, I'm going to be 20 feet to the side.
Okay, so just so I understand,
under the canvas, not on the pitch tent, just flattening it out.
Okay, so you're going to tie ropes around the handles. in order to open them from a distance.
Yeah, basically getting like 200 feet away,
Okay.
tying up all the ropes.
Okay, so the three of you are
the
going to
canvas.
be a couple hundred feet away. You're going to open up the doors, and Ushun's going to be right in front of it, or 20 feet away from it.
Well, someone has to pull the sword, so I guess I'll pull the sword and then move to the side as quickly as I can.
The door was shut anyway. I just put in the sword for security.
Yeah, someone's got to pull the sword.
We can pull the sword and then boogie out and yank.
Yeah, exactly.
To be clear, Syllar, since you're the one that put the sword in there, the doors were closed, but there's no latch and there was no lock on it, so it's not really shut in a sense. Like,
yeah.
So
whatever is in there isn't strong enough to push the door open.
Okay, so you're going to have Ushun pull the sword. The three of you are going to be further back, pulling the rope open to open the doors, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so you kind of get into position. You know, it takes a little while to kind of knot all these things together to get into position. Ushun, what weapon or weapons do you have ready?
Oh, the pole arm.
The pole arm? Okay.
Yeah.
And basically my short sword after she draws it out.
Okay.
Oh, I'm just going to drop the short sword.
Okay.
Yeah. So, pulling the sword, running backwards.
Okay. So you pull the sword. And...
we wait a while until she gets away a bit before we end.
Okay. And you're, just to be clear, you're going to move 20 feet back.
Off to the side.
Okay. So here's what happens. When you kind of give the signal, Syllar, you pull the rope, one of the doors swings open. And you don't see what comes out initially, but Ushun, you do see what comes out initially because you're not that far away. Make me a nature check.
That is a 15.
Okay, you recognize what flies out at you as you see a cloud of these reddish skinned bird-like creatures fly out. Now I'm going to make a crucial roll here to see if they notice you. You aren't necessarily hiding, so this is, yep, they do. So it's time to roll initiative as a group of sturges flies out and sees you, and they start flying towards you.
Okay, as soon as I recognize them, I yell, Sturges!
All right, so everybody can roll initiative.
Got a 16.
9.
Well, that makes sense. You're further away. Ushun, what do you get?
4.
That also makes sense because you maybe were surprised.
I got 5.
Harley got a 5. Okay. Angler. Ushun yells, Sturges, you're up.
How far away are we?
You're 200 feet away.
200.
Good Lord. I'll start running out. I have my my short bow in hand.
Okay.
And I'll run with my action and bonus.
Okay.
Try and get it as far as I can.
Is your movement 25 or 30? I don't remember.
I believe it's...
Probably takes like half movement to get out under the canvas.
That's possible. It's 30.
Okay. So you go, I'm going to say that you go about 50 feet then, because it takes a little bit of movement to kind of get up from your hiding position.
Okay. And that's my turn.
Okay. That brings us to you, Syllar.
Yeah. Let's see. It's a longbow I have to get up. Yeah, that will probably work. We were saying about 200 feet.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm using my 35 speed to move an action closer to get within longbow range. Better.
Okay.
Meanwhile, drawing an arrow as I run.
Okay. Sounds good. That brings us to Harley.
Well, I'm running as far as I can towards Ushun.
Okay. Full 60. All right. Ushun.
I'm going to quickly switch to my great club, just dropping the other thing.
Okay. They are within range to attack you.
All right.
So are you engaging?
Oh yeah.
Okay, go ahead and attack.
Okay, swing like a bat. Okay, so that's a 23 to hit.
That's more than enough. What's your damage?
Let me see. That is 7.
It's dead. You kill the first one. Dead. All right, now 5 of them attack you. So what's your armor class?
It's 12.
Okay, I wish I could screen share this. I have a 11, 2, a nat 20, another nat 20, and a 13. So there's 3 that hit you. 2 of them that hit you are nat 20s.
Yeah.
Ouch. So fortunately for you, it doesn't do a whole boatload of damage. But let me just get on this real quick. So the first one is sorry, this is for the regular attack. So you're going to take 7. And then for the 2 gnats, you're going to take... Ouch. So the first one is going to be 8 plus 4 is 12. So that's 12 more. And then 14 more. So 12, 14, and 7 from the 3 that hit you.
Okay.
And 2 of them are latched onto you now. They're stingers kind of embedded in you.
All right, I'm raging.
On your turn, you mean? Okay.
Yeah. At the end of the turn, that's a extra action, so I can rage at the end of my turn. It won't affect the damage at all.
Okay.
What that sturgeon bird? How big or small are they? I'm not familiar.
They are tiny.
Oh, they're little.
They're considered tiny, so they're maybe the size of like a sparrow.
Yeah.
That's why I switched to the great club.
Yeah. Just a little bit larger parakeet. All right. I was
Right.
trying to Google up some pictures like what kind of bird again?
Oh,
Yes.
these are classic AD&D monsters.
So up next we have at the top of the order, Angler.
Continue running another 60 feet.
Okay. Then Syllar, same thing.
Yeah, just noting how small those birds are, figuring it's going to be hell of difficult to shoot them with my bow.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. Anybody planning to do a ranged attack against them, they are right now swarming Ushun. So if you do a ranged attack and you roll a nat 1, you are definitely hitting Ushun.
Yeah.
Because these things fly around pretty fast. They have a flight speed of something that I'm not going to tell you, but it's pretty fast.
Yeah.
So, right, you are moving fast. Harley, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm running and storing my longbow and unhooking my quarterstaff.
Okay, what's the distance between me and Ushun?
Well, so you ran your full speed of 60, which puts you at 140 feet away from Ushun.
Okay, I'll move 30.
Uh-huh.
And then I'll strike one with the Eldritch Blast.
Okay. Are you splitting your Eldritch Blasts? Like two separate opponents?
Yeah.
Okay, so make 2 attack rolls.
Okay.
And you have Agonizing Blast, correct? The one where you add your charisma bonus?
Yep.
Okay, so just tell me if you hit.
So it's 17 and 26.
Okay, you blast 2 Eldritch Blasts from this absurd range of 110 feet away. Both of them hit, and you kill 2 more of the Sturges. Well done. This brings us to Ushun. There are only 3 of them, and 2 of them are currently embedded in your flesh, sucking your blood. So you wanted to spend your bonus action to rage, which you can do. Now you have your action.
Well, I spent that on my bonus action on the last turn, but okay, so I'm going to drop prone and roll to squish those Sturges that are on me.
Okay, make an athletics check.
Okay, athletics.
Remember that you have advantage because you're raged.
Oh yeah. Okay, 19 plus 7 plus 2 more. So that's a whole bunch.
Okay, you squish one of them off. That is another one that is dead.
Okay.
Okay, now the one that's still on you is going to continue sucking blood. So you are going to take 7 more. Oof.
Okay, that's brought down to 3.
Nope, it's not.
Why?
Here's why. Because rage affects attacks against you. This was already an attack. It had successfully attacked. It is just draining blood, so your rage doesn't half the damage.
Gotcha.
So that's 7 more.
Okay.
Then there's the other remaining one that did not embed itself on you. It's going to fly and try to attack you on the ground, which shouldn't be too hard because it has advantage. And that is a 15.
Yeah, it hits.
Okay, for 6 more.
Okay, that's 3 more, right?
That's 3 more, yes. All right. That brings us to the top of the order with Angler.
Gonna run up 30 feet, and I should be in range for a bonus action Psychic Blade. The 60-foot range. I'm gonna throw it at one of them. 16.
That's a hit. Damage?
Damage is 10.
It is dead. Nicely done. All right. That brings us to Syllar.
I'm not going to be closing the distance with just movement, I think. So just keep running and say, I'm not going to say I told you so.
So you're only 60 feet away at this point because you moved 70 each of the previous 2 rounds, right? So you're only 60 feet away.
Yeah, but that doesn't get me in melee range with just movement.
Right.
So
are you just
keep running? Just keep running in. Not going to say I told you so, but...
All right. Yep. You will be up there next round. Harley. There's one
Harley,
left.
you're muted.
There's one left, Harley, and it's got its stinger like in her shoulder, and she's like rolling around on the ground, and this thing's like violently kind of twisting and.
Okay, so I presume that's with disadvantage?
No, but if you roll a 1, you have to tell me.
Okay. I carefully point towards the last one and I shoot it.
Okay. You send forth an Eldritch Blast.
Okay. That's 23.
That's a hit. You blast it, it flies off of her neck. And the scourges are splattered all over the place.
Well, you got a strange beast in here.
Hey, this is what I'm for. Taking damage.
I'm
gonna
gonna
look
skip
at-
to a halt and turn to the card.
Yeah,
Okay.
go to the card. I'm gonna
So-
look at the remains of the most intact one.
The
Okay.
one that I killed, the psychic blades attack actually leaves no mark.
Yeah, there's one that looks like it hasn't been wounded at all, but it's just dead.
Okay, I'm
And
gonna.
you guys, so just to narrate this, you kind of, I'm assuming you sit up from the ground now and pull the stinger out of your shoulder. You guys can tell that Ushun's been attacked. Like she's got like puncture holes all over her. And you guys kind of run up, so you're all there.
Yeah.
I want to examine that most intact one and see if it's been infected.
Oh, interesting. All right, make a medicine check.
Good medicine. 13.
It doesn't bear what you have traditionally seen as signs of the infection. Like its eyes are not
Yeah.
bloodshot. There's no goop kind of seeping out of its eyes or from it, froth around its beak, anything that would indicate that.
Okay. Well, I'll start to clean myself up and patch myself up and
Okay. What are the rest of you guys doing while Ushun's sort of patching herself up?
Like I said, I was skidding to a halt, getting close to her, and then making a beeline for the card.
Okay.
Take that one out.
So you see, as you look into the cart, it's dark. Like I said, there are no windows. What you see in this cart, though, is what looks like maybe a nest from the scourges. Kind of looks like a wasp's nest, but bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like the scourges at some point had built this nest, and were kind of occupying this space. But more importantly, you see a long rectangular wooden box that takes up most of the space in this wagon. And the box has a lid, and the lid doesn't look like it's nailed shut.
All right. I'll try and, even with my crowbar, just break it open.
I should point out that it's probably about mid-afternoon, right? Like you guys have been traveling most of the day. It's let's say it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So still very light out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna, like I said, just take my crowbar and open up that lid.
Okay, no crowbar necessary because it's not nailed shut. You start to lift off the lid, and you have dark vision.
Mm-hmm.
So with the ambient light kind of from the doors being open, you see that there's a body.
So it's actually more like a casket.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say before you take the whole lid off, you're basically opening this lid and you see like feet and legs.
Probably at that point I would close it again.
Okay.
And go in the gang. And probably strike up a torch. Get some extra light in here.
So you guys are kind of all in the proximity of this.
I want to take a healing potion.
Okay.
My healing potion.
Go ahead and roll.
No,
This
I
healing
can get
potion-
you in cure wounds if you want.
Okay, later.
All right. Well, are you taking the healing potion now or not?
Yeah, I want to.
Okay, roll 2d4 and add 1.
Go ahead then.
Okay, so you're quaffing a healing potion. Harley and Angler, what are you guys doing as Syllar reveals to you that there's a casket in this wagon?
Well, it's either dead body and they were moving it somewhere else, or it may be, just maybe, a vampire. We should take it out and open it in the sun, just to be sure.
Mm-hmm.
I just have my rapier ready. We have a little bit of experience with vampires.
Yeah, there is a good possibility that those nobleman clothes and such were his, so, or theirs, so we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to retrieve my pole arm and I'm going to stand back a little because I'm...
All of you make perception checks. You've been talking, like, and plotting this, right?
I'm not very perceptive. 4.
Or
This would still be grassland kind of thing.
Sure. Why not?
All right. So perception would be 21.
I rolled a 1, and that's because I'm concentrating on picking up my glaive.
Okay. Angler?
a 4.
Syllar, you heard movement inside of that wooden box. Like, you hear a little bit of movement, and you hear sounds like something ever so lightly scraping.
Harley, I think you might be right about that zombie thing, because there's something still moving in the casket.
Okay.
I think we may have disturbed it. I may have.
Okay. There's plenty of sun left.
Yeah.
And it means outside we are safe, but we should take it out somehow?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe we can ask that person?
Well, I would say, can we just grab the end of it and just drag it out of the cart and have it like drop onto the floor?
Yeah. If you guys wanted to do, like, whoever has the highest strength can make that check. If you wanted to assist them with a help action, one of you could do that. That would give advantage to the person who's making the strength, the athletics check.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess I could do that. My rage is gone.
Oh, by the way, I picked up my short sword that I use for the door latch.
Okay.
So
I shout into the cart. Well, sir, are you going to eat us?
There is no response.
Okay, quick.
yank it. So Ushun and I are yanking it.
Okay.
And you two are readying spells or whatever.
So go ahead and make the athletics check with advantage, Ushun, because Syllar is helping you.
Nat 20 for 27.
Okay. You guys grab the ends of it and you pull. So Ushun, you're pulling the end of it out. And Syllar, you're kind of like grabbing the side, and once the front end of it gets there, you kind of shove. Because of your sweeping success, you succeed. You pull this thing, and as it tumbles, it flips forward and falls onto the lid. So you flipped it out and it's upside down and it fell onto the lid. And you hear movement around inside of it. You see the thing shaking back and forth. Time to roll initiative. Now, I'm going to roll initiative at disadvantage because of your incredibly successful athletics check, because basically you flipped this over and now this thing is trying to get out from a box instead of just flipping the lid off. So it has a not good initiative roll. Angler, what'd you get?
14.
Okay, Syllar?
I got a net 1 out of the way, so now I have a initiative of 3.
Okay. Harley?
17.
Okay. Ushun?
4.
Wow. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'm shocked at the degree to which you guys suck at initiative. It's so entertaining for me, though, as a DM.
It depends on what I'm rolling for.
It
I
kind
don't
of
know.
makes sense that both Ushun and I are low, because we were yanking
Well,
on the thread.
Yeah,
Again, it's not at a fantastic place either, because it was at disadvantage for initiative because of your superb move, so that sort of saves you. But Harley, you are actually the first one that's ready for this. You see this thing shaking, you see the box starting to lift as if whatever's inside is trying to get out now, and you can go first.
Well, actually, I will hold my action till I see it clearly, and probably in the sun.
Okay, what is
I'm
your you have to tell me what your action is going to be when you see it. Are you blasting it when you see it? What's the trigger? In other words, I understand the trigger is that you want to see it.
Yep, I
And
got
once
it.
you see it, are you blasting it?
I got it. I will hex it.
Hex it. Okay. All right. So when you see it, that'll trigger the hex. Okay. Angler, you're up.
how thick does this box look? Could I stab through it with a rapier?
Probably not. It's about an inch
Probably
thick.
not. Okay. I'll hold my
I will
action.
say if you wanted to try that and you got like a really high roll, I would say that you could succeed, but I would have you roll at disadvantage for that.
Why not?
Okay.
It's entertaining.
Hit it. Roll at disadvantage. You're kind of making a blind attack roll, stabbing into the wood.
13.
That's not quite gonna cut it.
Worth a shot.
Stab into the wood, and you pull your rapier out. There's no blood or anything, so you feel like you stabbed in and maybe just missed it. Okay, because of everyone's really sad initiative rolls, that brings us to what you're about to see. The box, as it's shaking, kind of flips up, and this creature, who looks like at one point it was a man, but is now quite dead, jumps up with 2 sharp, curved blades in its hands. It is otherwise completely nude, and you could tell that it's sort of like its eyes are slits, like its eyes are almost completely closed, and it just recklessly sort of swings out with these 2 curved blades. So first and foremost, who is it attacking? Syllar.
Just a second.
Oh, it's hexed. I'm sorry.
I hex it,
Yes.
and I give it disadvantage on strength.
Well played. Hex indeed. I see.
Hex.
You deal an extra 1d6 necrotic damage whenever you hit it with an attack, and also you choose one ability, which is in this case going to be strength. It gets disadvantage on ability checks with strength. Well played. Nicely done. All right, so it is going to make its first attack with disadvantage against Syllar, which is probably going to be a miss. Let me just double check. Yeah, that's a miss. Its second attack is going to be with disadvantage against also Syllar, and that is also a miss. It swings wildly, the curved blades cutting in the air towards you, but do not make contact with you. Which brings us now to you, Ushun. You don't have a weapon on you, but you can pick one up as your bonus action, and then you can attack if you want. Or you could bonus action rage, and then use your action to pick up a weapon and not attack. So what would you like to do?
I'm still too badly hurt. how I feel. So I'm just going to go back to my glaive and pick that up and be ready to rush in if I have to.
Okay. You successfully grab your glaive and kind of take your position. Syllar, it's
away.
Syllar, your turn.
I can just, I should be able to just quick draw my sword.
Yep.
And just make a launching stab.
Okay, go ahead and attack.
Right at him. Let's see here. Switch to my actions to see which one. Yes, short sword, +5. 17 to hit.
That's a hit.
All right. That's D6 and 2. Yeah, merely 3 damage.
Okay, you cut into this thing. And you see its flesh get cut. And now we're back to the top of the order.
I've got that's 2 weapon fighting. I have to draw the other one. Not enough time for that. Yeah, that should be it.
Okay. All right. Top of the order. Harley, you're up. You have hexed this creature.
Well, I Hexblade curse it. And I'll shoot it with both Eldritch Blasts.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, that will be... Shit. That will be 12 and 15 to hit.
Okay, one of those hits. Go ahead and roll your Eldritch Blast damage.
And... it's 8.
Okay. Roll your extra D6 for necrotic damage.
Okay. 4.
Okay. All right. The blast seems to have done something. This brings us to Angler.
Now that I can see it, I will stab it.
Okay. And what are you stabbing it with?
My rapier.
All right.
I rolled a 13.
That is a miss. Your rapier kind of slides off of its flesh as it's frantically moving around trying to attack you guys, which then brings it to the creature. So it's going to attack, coincidentally, you, or perhaps not coincidentally. First attack at disadvantage is a 12. Does that hit?
At me?
Yeah.
Negative.
Okay. Second attack is definitely a miss. All right. So it swings wildly at you as you try to stab it, but you notice that again, its eyelids are closed almost completely, and it's sort of wildly swinging around. Which now brings us to Ushun.
I'm going to ponder this creature and see if I can identify it.
Would you like to make an Arcana check?
I could, even though I don't have any skill in it.
All right. Well, we'll say that your pondering is basically an Arcana check.
That is a 16. Wow.
Okay. You aren't proficient in Arcana, but a couple things that you feel as you ponder this briefly is that this is an undead. However, the way that's moving is not like a zombie. And it doesn't look like an animated skeleton. So by process of elimination, it's not a zombie, it's not a skeleton, and you don't see it burning in the sunlight as you might see a vampire. So it's an undead, but it's not a vampire, a zombie, or a skeleton. And that's kind of what you feel you know about it in this round.
Okay, I will shout out, undead, not zombie, not skeleton, probably not vampire.
Okay. All right, and that is good. All right, so that's bringing us to Syllar.
Yep. Drawing up my other sword. I'm gonna go bonus action Hunter's Mark and cast Hunter's Mark on that guy.
Okay.
And then use my both swords to attack him.
All right. I'm gonna need a sense of how that Hunter's Mark works. What that additional damage is.
It's an extra D6.
But it's not. Is it magic or is it not magic?
It's a divination spell.
It deals an extra damage with a weapon attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Hunter's Mark itself doesn't deal damage, it just marks it for extra damage.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so go ahead and make your attack.
It wouldn't be magical damage, I would think, no.
Correct. That's what I needed to verify. All right, so go ahead and make your attack.
That's a natural 1 and a 19. My 2-weapon fighting.
The 19's a hit.
Yeah. So that one gets him, let's see, that's 2d6. 11, 13 damage.
Okay. I'll let you make an insight or a perception roll, your choice.
Insight or perception? It's probably perception. 19 and 4, 23.
Okay, so you're fairly certain that big hit that you just did, that tore into its undead flesh, did not damage it.
All right.
You're,
as I noticed,
you're very certain that your attack did not damage it.
All right. As I noticed this, I'm like, God dang it, this one isn't, probably needs magic damage.
Coincidentally, as you mentioned the word magic, it's Harley's turn, top of the order.
Okay. I shouted it. Just surrender. And I blasted with Eldritch Blast again.
Okay, go ahead and make 2 attacks.
Okay. Okay, net 20 and 23.
Very nice. All right, let's do the regular damage. So roll your D10 and add your charisma bonus to your damage.
Okay, that's 8.
Okay.
With the necrotic 5, and yeah, that's
and then
it.
The second attack, because it was the nat 20, you're going to do 14 automatically because that's the maximum, plus roll another d10.
Well, actually 18 because of Hexblade Curse.
How does Hexblade work?
It adds 4 bonus damage to damage rolls.
But is it magic?
Oh. Against the cursed target, you gain a +4 bonus to damage rolls. You score a critical hit on 19 or 20. So I don't know.
Okay, so let's say 18, then roll another d10.
Okay, another d10. It's 1 plus 4, 5.
So 18 and 5 is 23. Wow. Your blasts do an incredible effect on this thing. It kind of like is seriously like hit by both these blasts, and it screeches in agony and sort of wildly whips around to attack. But it's Angler's turn.
I'm going to use my psychic blade, since my regular one won't do anything. Am I able to get sneak attack with this? I'm not sure.
You are, because Syllar is flanking it, so you absolutely can.
All right. Nine.
To hit?
Yep. To hit.
Its wild swinging prevents you from getting a great angle. You lunge forward, but it just like kind of wildly moves out of the way, avoiding your attack. Which now brings it to its turn. All right, first attack with disadvantage is definitely going to miss. Who was that going to miss? That was going to miss Syllar. All right, second attack with disadvantage. 18.
Against?
Against Syllar.
That hits.
Okay. So, that is not good for you in the sense that you're going to take 11 damage. And then you need to make a con save.
Good thing we found this guy in the daytime.
Con save, 7.
That is not going to be enough. So you're going to take...
Hang on. Con save. Does my Hunter's Mark give me an advantage here? Probably not.
I don't know.
You have advantage on any wisdom, perception, or wisdom survival check you make to find it. No.
Nope. So you're going to take an additional 3 necrotic damage, and your maximum hit points right now are reduced by 3. Okay. That hurt. But it is now Ushun's turn.
All right. I am pointing my glaive straight at this thing. I want to run at it and stick it and try to pin it to the ground. With the glaive.
One thing you could do that's similar is effectively you're using your glaive to make a shove attack. Yep. You're trying to shove it to the ground. So go ahead and make an athletics check.
Okay. 17.
You succeed. It does get a chance, although at disadvantage, thanks to Harley's hex. It gets a chance to avoid that, which, thanks to the disadvantage, it fails. So you knock this thing to the ground. You knock it down, and it is now prone. So anyone making melee attacks against it while it's prone gets advantage. Ranged attacks against it, however, Harley, are at disadvantage since it is prone.
Can I pin it?
If you want to make a grapple, you could.
Well, there's still the damage.
Yeah, your glaive doesn't do any damage to it.
Oh, okay.
So you have knocked it prone. Syllar, it's your turn.
Yeah. Since it's prone, do you still need to disengage to get away?
Who does? The creature?
Since the creature is down, do I still need to disengage to get away from him?
No.
All right. And I'm gonna step away close to Ushun, and as I walk by, I lay my hand on her and quickly do a cure wound.
Well played. All right, go ahead and make the roll.
I can roll it.
Yes, D8 plus 1.
2.
No, I'm sorry. Roll 2d4 and add 1.
Okay.
There are things that I change in Dungeons and Dragons because the way that it was
That's
written.
better.
is stupid. So, all right. So you cure wounds.
Yeah.
Wise move. Top of the order, Harley. It's your turn, my friend. What do you do?
Well, I still try to find an angle to shoot it down.
Okay, go ahead.
So
Your attack is at disadvantage.
okay, the first is net 1.
Okay.
And the second one is 11.
Miss. You blast the ground around it as it's writhing, trying to free itself from being knocked down.
Let it stand.
Angler.
I'm gonna do a plunging attack.
A what?
With a plunging attack. I'm just jumping.
Okay.
Try and stab it.
With your regular sword.
With my psychic blade.
Oh, with your psychic blade. Well played.
Yes.
All right, you get advantage.
$27.
Yeah, that'll do it. What's the damage?
$12.
You finish it off. So you come up with your psychic blade. It's on the ground. The end of Ushun's glaive kind of holding it down, and you just jump over it and plunge down into its chest, and the psychic energy radiates through this thing, and it sort of like convulses as if it's being electrocuted, and then it just abruptly stops. It is dead.
Now, he doesn't have any like rings or anything?
No, as I mentioned, he has these 2 scimitars, and then he's like he was completely nude.
Just a question.
Yes.
At 6th level, I obtained a Cursed Specter, and do I have to slay a humanoid, or any of my friends may kill it as well, so I can raise a specter?
That's a great question. So you can curse the soul of a person you slay, temporarily binding it in your service. When you slay a humanoid, you can cause its spirit to rise from its corpse as a specter. When the specter, no, because this is already undead.
Well, I'm just asking because for the future.
Yeah. I would say it would have to be a humanoid that had a soul and was not already undead.
Yeah, so when it dies near me, or when I slay it?
I mean, as written, it says you can curse the soul of a person you slay.
Okay, so I should do it. Okay.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to keep my halberd stuck in it, but I'm going to kneel, I'm going to bend down, just lift one of its eyelids. I've got a glove on my hand.
Okay. It does not appear to be one of the infected. Despite
what the heck is this? Doesn't look infected, but what the
Harley,
heck
go
is
ahead
this?
and make Harley, go ahead and make an Arcana check. You have proficiency in Arcana.
Okay. Not good. 6.
It's definitely an undead, but you're not really sure what it is. After defeating this creature, you look and again, there's nothing else in the contents of that wagon other than the sturge nest.
I'm gonna bring the scimitars to Harley.
I was going to say, I was going to check out the scimitars.
Okay. The scimitars look very well crafted, like extremely well crafted, like castle forged, very sharp.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're looking at them, you notice that stamped into both of the blades is a symbol. The symbol looks sort of like a snake with wings, and just lower than that snake is like a circle. And you see the symbol that's stamped into these blades. And as you bring them to Harley,
I was
in
going to
your
say, did he
mind's
share
eye,
that vision?
you see the vision that you saw from the Raven Queen. And you see it stamped into these two scimitars. And that is where we'll end this episode of Moonsea Adventures. Hope you guys enjoyed our return here for season 2 of this show. Stay tuned for more episodes. And as always, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to further support the channel, you can join us on Patreon. There are a bunch of different options there for supporting our ongoing mission of bringing role-playing games to the masses. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Moonsea Adventures. Peace out.
Well, hello, and welcome to Bill Allen World. I am Wizzy, the Wizard. I'm back once again to remind you to subscribe and click on the notifications button, and also watch videos that are over there. Tune in to the next episode of whatever show you are just watching, and watch other shows featuring Bill. He made me say that, because he's a narcissist. Okay, bye.